Let me then go to Prime Minister Ibrahim. Malaysia has done pretty well. Growth is back. You're also benefiting from the changes in the global value chains, where we see more nearshoring, also called friendshoring. You become one of the nations with a big semiconductor, at least chip as industry. But you're also dealing with productivity issues at home. And listening now to Madam Georgieva, what is your take on the current geoeconomic and geopolitical situation? It is complex also in your region. So what is your vision?
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Those difficult, complex global questions should be addressed to the MD of IMF. But anyway, I must, I think, begin by expressing my profound gratitude to the kingdom under the leadership of King Salman and Crown Prince Mohammed, because coming from a majority Muslim country in emerging economies, the initiative taken by the kingdom cannot be underestimated. The importance is profound because the kingdom is seen to be the leading voice on Islam, on progress, on development. This did not happen in the past. So when they start focusing on the issues of development, of globalization, of digital transformation, of energy transition, that by itself has appealed to the concerns and support of many of these countries. Many of our Muslims look up to the initiative. That's why I think I must give credit. And Minister, please convey that we see this in this light. So you must continue to play this role to engage, particularly those in the developing economies, emerging economies. Notwithstanding the complex situation, the turbulent times affecting the region, particularly the anger, frustration over the Palestinian issue and the Gaza crisis, that shows complete abdication of responsibility, particularly countries in the West. But notwithstanding that, the kingdom wants not to be completely distracted with the issue. The issue is important, it's fundamental to us, but at the same time, we have to survive. The economy has to be strong. The fundamentals have got to be built. So Malaysia is again fortunate in a region that is possibly most peaceful in the world and the fastest growing economy. And we then, particularly Malaysia, now start focusing on issues. Firstly, I think, Christina, you made a very important reference to the issue of governance, fiscal responsibility, because without that, countries cannot move. You must start with certain priorities, because countries can grow, has enormous potential. We had that experience in the 1990s. In fact, with the World Bank and the IMF considers this as the East Asian miracle. I quite dispute that, but notwithstanding, it was spectacular. We have seen spectacular progress. But we also have to learn from the flaws of endemic corruption, of gross inequality between the rich and the poor, the propensity to adopt unbridled capitalism to the extent that you ignore the plight of the masses deprived from basic opportunities. So we have to steer that policy issue of governance, of fiscal responsibility. At the same time, do not lose sight of the key priorities, which is relevant in this session. The issue of globalization, of interdependence. We adopt a very fierce foreign policy position to engage and depend on the support, collaboration, investments from the West, the United States, Europe. At the same time, maintain excellent bilateral relations with China, Korea, Japan, and more importantly with China because of the potential. And of course we have to grapple with these sensitivities, which is not our problem, is the problem of the rest. And I've said it, probably quite pronounced in Australia when asked. I said, please do not impose your problem upon us because we are in emerging economy with enormous problems of our own. We have to now grapple with the issue of digital transformation. And so you mentioned about these semiconductors. We are fortunate because we have been now the focus. In the past has been always in the back end. But with the new investments coming in from America, from Germany, from China, the focus has shifted to the front end, which means new challenges. We have to train differently. We have to refocus on the issue of technical training and TVETs, which was somewhat ignored in the past. We have to excel in some of the research area, which is challenging and new. And I should conclude by saying that for these sorts of forums is critically important to us. And I choose to come precisely because of that, to show that the initiative taken by the Kingdom and the issues being addressed and focus, of course, with the support of the World Economic Forum, would be of enormous benefit to us and ASEAN as a region.
Mr. Prime Minister Ibrahim, you are also in a situation where you're caught between the G2, China and the US. And this is also a relationship that is quite volatile or fragile. And you're maneuvering this too on top of all the other challenges. Maybe you want to reflect on that for 2 minutes.
Well, it's not as complex because cumulatively, the investment in the United States remain number one in Malaysia. But of course, in the last few years, you see these growing investments and interests from China. How do we navigate it? By just saying, look, we welcome investments based on our rules and don't dictate and impose any conditions. We will not, for example, enter into any sort of a decision that is deemed to be provocative against one another. And I think so far we have managed, not easy, as a small emerging economy, we have to navigate very wisely. And we are fortunate again because there is somewhat an ASEAN consensus on this, though not in full because there are different strengths, but at least within the ASEAN mechanism, there has been this sort of a position that we maintain our neutrality. We engage with both, and we set our own priorities. Our problem with some of the big economies, of course, they dictate, they hector, they're quite condescending, and you have seen that in COP28 and some other forums, WTO, etc. But I think this is where I think to engage more broadly with Africa, with Latin America, and the Middle East, particularly what the Kingdom has initiated, would be of immense help to us. We cannot do it alone, and we will have to then engage. Again, I said I would to conclude that we are fortunate because within ASEAN, though there may be some minor differences on foreign policy issues, but the focus and the engagement and the both bilateral and multilateral relationship is excellent. We do not have any issues having to work together as a team. And that's why ASEAN happens to be now among one of the most cohesive force, a sub-regional force in the world. And we are now focusing more on trade investments, intra-trade investments. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prime Minister.